and the night has come, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me.
And what will be the downstream impact to Black and marginalized Utahns?
It's already started, guys. Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good conversation today.
We don't adjust your channel, don't adjust your focus, or if it's out of focus, adjust it. Your program is powered by GetMedCard.co, the easiest and quickest legal way to get your medical card in Utah at the lowest price right now. It's $70, and you do get qualified. It is HIPAA protected, so again, do your homework and educate yourself on everything. Also, June 13th through the 15th, Ogden Amphitheater Project Success Coalition. It's the Juneteenth celebration. 92.5 The Beat will be up there this Friday, and then on Saturday, that'll be Saturday, and then Sunday, Everyday People and myself, we're going to be hosting the barber battle and the braid battle. I'm excited about that, man.
I wish I could be there.
How creative our people are when it comes to hair. I do love that. My guest today is no stranger to the program. Welcome into Budah's Lounge. He is a family practice physician, also the founder of Black Physicians in Utah. There's so many things going on right now, so many questions I have, and I would love to get heavy wax intellectually on it. But let's start at the beginning, if you wouldn't mind, Dr. Ferguson. People who may not be familiar with you, would you mind give us an origin story, where you come from, a little bit of your background, and how we came to be here with you in Utah.
Yeah, let me see if I can do a quick synopsis. So I originally am from Washington, D.C., born and raised. Did a lot of my training in the Midwest, Michigan State, Northwestern, and then I joined the military, active duty for 7 years as a battalion and brigade surgeon. Then finished my training, actually exited here in Utah, and did my second residency in family medicine, but actually I've only practiced emergency medicine since graduating. So I haven't actually practiced in a clinic since training. So, but yeah, I practice in ER medicine in about 7 different states. And when I started to really officially call Utah my home around 2012, I started to walk around, wasn't really working here yet, and I said, man, there's not a lot of docs that look like me. Still was happy, great for recreation, space, friends. I've never probably been more fit in my life until I moved to Utah, just because of there's not as many people practicing as many vices as say out on the East Coast from where I'm from. And
or maybe they just hide it better. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry,
but the biggest thing is it led to the Black Physicians of Utah in 2021. I started that organization. We're just a little over 4 years old, and we're trying to bring about health equity, trying to increase representation of doctors that look like me and you in Utah, showing a path, making sure they're created a path, mentoring a path, but also a lot of what we do that people may see me for is community education events, myself and my fellow Black doctors.
I want to thank you. Great introduction, fantastic introduction. I want to say you reinvigorated my want to be healthy. I know this month is Men's Health in June, but the last time I just saw you, we were at a funeral.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. To me, their message, it was great. That's the message that we need, because for me, when I think about it, funerals are not for the person who's gone. It's for us there coming to say goodbye. We need a good message that might help us with longevity. Your message was really poignant. I took it to heart, and I'm so grateful. Would you mind sharing that message, that it's not just there at the funeral, you are carrying that message wherever you go. So you're championing men's health.
Yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, you know, it's sad he was lost, and he brought joy to many lives. He has several grandchildren, many children himself. But his plight is not uncommon, and I would not want this black man's legacy as someone that's 49. I'm 48, so close, you know, in many regards. But it's often just a lot of lifestyle that sometimes led to unfortunate some of his healthcare outcomes. But also, I wanted to highlight, particularly during June and Men's Health Month, that prostate cancer is what was his undoing. And now some people say, well, that's an old man's disease. Well, in people of color, and particularly black men, it is something that gets us a lot sooner under the age of 60. So you actually have to start screening 40, start having that discussion. And who knows if that discussion was occurring. From what I heard, he loved to indulge in various substances that plagues many of those in our community. And it's something that I wanted to touch on, substance abuse, and how, you know, these people should not be shamed, but they should be increased access for help. When it comes to addressing obesity, which increases our risk for cancer, trying to increase cardiovascular rate, and just some, I would say, not weightlifting, but to do more restrictive activity that can lead to changing our muscle mass, anything to interact with our muscle mass.
Do you think, like bands?
Bands can work. You don't need to have a gym membership to do many things. But beyond cardiovascular fitness and health, addressing our nutrition, you know, making sure that we don't try to eat more than our fistful, I often say, per meal.
That really shocked me. I'm surprised. Now, I had heard that one time, but for you to bring it back, not bring it back, but to remind us that, hey, bro, this is the portion size.
It's not two of them.
Wow.
It's one.
Wait, well, you got to call my people out for. Wait, no, we go like this. No, I was so appreciative of your message. It was a great reminder because of why we were there saying goodbye. I apologize, I forgot. It's Tony's brother. I forgot. Gaspin? Was that his name? Baskin. Sorry, Baskin.
Yeah. Andreas, I think is his first name. They never wanted me to call him by his first name. It was like, Baskin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Because he's named after somebody else. Anyway, you mentioned that you were in the military. You're a veteran. I want to talk about that a little bit later because I would love more people to come in. My question that I'm going to ask Dr. Ferguson, since he was in active military duty, is about the situation that's occurring right now in Los Angeles. You're asked by the commander-in-chief to go out and serve. And you're on. It's such a crazy scenario to me. I can't even put it in perspective. And I never served. My father and my brother served, so I have a little bit of perspective. But I would love to hear your perspective as a former active duty member, and what those young men and women might be going through on the streets of LA, facing our own people. I want to. That's what we're going to talk about. I want to tease it now so that you guys can come back. Okay. Apparently, we're having we're having mic problems. I'm sorry.
Oh, my good.
Not you. Your mic is good. It's me. Okay. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So again, I apologize for that, but we are going to talk about that situation going down, and we will have a first-hand experience of what it's like to be in the military, to be asked to do this, and there's all kinds of things. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. What I want to turn and pivot to, since we're talking about men's health, you created a group, or you and a couple of other doctors created a group that is using physical activity as the tool. Running. Look, brothers run a lot. We run fast. I know we run fast. That's really, really. Tell me about how it got started. How many people in the group, and do I have to be a brother to be in the group?
No. So the first question, no, you do not have to be identify as a black man to be a part of the group. It's open to all. But the reason it was created is because the number one killer and disproportionately impacting. Number one killer in the U.S. is heart disease.
Still.
Right? Number one, right? So when we go from heart disease, then we have to start breaking it down demographically. It's hitting black men the hardest in our nation.
Is it our diet? Is it, or maybe genetics? Or there's a lot of
Part of it's genetics. A lot of it's, I kind of go through those social determinants of health. Education to know the right things to eat, access to food, income for healthy, fresh food, knowing the right of activity, and when it comes to lifestyle, avoiding certain things that are impairing, smoking, drinking, things like that. All are in that sort of wheel of social determinants of health. But a lot of times, sometimes it's just accountability. So thus, you're all more accountable if you're in a group. If you go to football practice, you're more likely to show up because your teammates are there.
Right.
And so forth with this. But the reason I focus on brothers that run is not only because of the disproportionate impact. Black men have a shorter lifespan than black women. All right. A big part of the community I address are black men and black women. There are activities for black women. They have various support groups, mental health and physical fitness, those to support, but not as much for black men. Black men, I often was primarily exposed to, there's a breakfast that occurs on the fourth Saturday of every month. It's not at a healthy spot. It doesn't really vary. I think it's at the Village Inn in Murray.
It's a breakfast.
And I'm like, okay, greasy eggs. And I get the fellowship, but I was like, well, we should offer something that's not necessarily counter, it's still fellowship, but we're engaging in a healthy activity. It's going to reduce our cancer risk, and reduce our cardiovascular risk for having a future event, developing hypertension, reducing our risk for stroke. So I wanted to create that. And also, there's a little bit of bias in it. It's something that I love to do. I just finished a triathlon this weekend in Boise.
Okay.
So I like engaging in fitness, but I am not an outlier. I know I'm not alone, just like I created this organization where I'm not the lone black doc. There's over 30 of us.
Yeah.
But I really created it because I wanted black men, and it's not just running. It started off as running, and I probably have to say we probably have about 12 to 13 variability based on who got, but it's open to women, men, white, black, bring your dog. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So you're turning it into a family thing then?
Oh yeah. That's how the accountability's there.
So they're bringing the men, like, again.
Yeah. Bring your kids.
Black men are
bring
coming,
your
and they're
son.
bringing their support system with them.
Yes. Yeah.
I
want people to look forward to the next one and help me lead the next one. Because the other thing is, I need co-captains right now that are stable. And because right now, as with many things with BPOU, it sometimes falls to me to design on a weekend.
Do you have a group called Brothers That Meander? Because I don't really run. I sort of like, just stroll. What about brothers that just like...
All paces, all levels. And I will not, if it's more than 2 people, I will make sure no one's left behind. So the slowest person, I'll go back, I bring first aid, refreshments, sunscreen, bug spray, wherever.
It's a real organization.
Oh yeah.
You got it down.
Hiking, running, you just got to pose my banner afterwards, that's all. Branding's important.
Okay, beside the obvious, the fellowship, I love that, and the health component, what are some other factors that men and women, whoever's coming to this group, they're getting? Are they finding commonalities besides that?
Well, one, a lot of people during it will say, there's a lot of first timers. This is the first time I did a hike in Adams Canyon 2 weeks ago on the June 1st, and less than 2 weeks ago. And, one brother's been here about 3 years. He says, this is my first time doing a hike, and it's my first time buying sneakers.
Jeez.
He's like, I'm usually in dress loafers or dress shoes. And I was like, you need to be out here.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
And he's like, thank you for doing this. So at the end of every event, it's great that there's reassurance, like one, normalizing on these trails in our valley, in our state, people of color being on the trails. Sometimes people don't feel that's their space. It's a white person's space.
Yeah.
I want to stop that.
It's a people space.
Yeah.
It's a human space.
It's for Utahns.
Yeah.
It's our state parks. It's national parks within our state. I want to normalize it. I was, at this triathlon up in Boise. I was, I don't notice it I notice it, but I don't really vocalize it or voice it. But I'm often the only black person ever at a triathlon. And often a rate limiting factor there is swimming. Many know how to ride a bike.
I know a lot of
people know how to run.
But I know a lot of people swim though.
But will they do the other two? And will they swim for a really long distance, There's one thing, wading in the beach.
That's
But
different
swimming
from real
across the
swimming,
lake
from-
and
from
coming
actual-
back,
yeah.
that's different.
Competitive swimming. Let's just call it competitive swimming because
Yeah.
you are, yeah.
But I didn't start that way.
I love that you're vulnerable, that you're not
Yeah.
afraid to share your story.
Yeah, my wife beat me too.
Okay, I don't know if I'm ready for all that. I just,
Yeah.
you know,
I call her the champ this weekend.
Well, my wife is the champ, but I don't know about, you know, wow, that's, no, she's, of course the women in our lives are champ. No, congratulations, brother, nice job. Triathlon, how many weeks do you train for that? What kind of training, what kind of intensity is it?
Well, I try to do so I recommend, as with the American Heart Association, that people get at least 150 minutes, 200 minutes, or pretty much 150 minutes a week of vigorous exercise. That's either
Vigorous.
brisk walks. So that means if you have, based on your age, height, but often it's just age, what your max heart rate should be. So I'm 48, I should try to get a heart rate up around 130 to 145, which would be 80% of my max. So that's where I should try to go. I usually hang out around the 150s. And you just do that. So I'm just telling people 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to occur all at one time. If you're like, hey, I've got kids and I've got stuff, all right, I'm gonna do 100 minutes on Saturday, and I'll just do 30 minutes during the week.
Wow.
You're still getting the heart fitness that you need.
That's from a doctor, guys, not a,
Yeah.
no, see, this is, again, it just, for me, it's about where the message comes from, right? A buddy of mine could tell me the same thing you're telling me, and I'd be like, you know what? I don't know, bro. I mean, look at you. You're bigger than me. Anyway, but when a doctor who just came from a triathlon, who said his wife beat him, and he looks like he could be an underwear model, you got to believe what he's saying. You know, you got to take him at his word. Now, come on, brother. I got to get flowers, man.
Okay.
That's the whole reason why we do this show, is that you can get your flowers while you're still here and hearing me giving it to you. I don't want to give it to you when you're gone.
I appreciate it, man.
So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for giving a damn about our people, especially our men, our black men who have so many things going against us, health-wise, you know, and otherwise.
Socially, yeah.
So I want to pivot. I think this is a great point. If you're in the kitchen, you can only hear us. Please grab your drink, whatever. Come to the screen. If you're in the back, come to the screen. Pull it up. How's that, hon? Sorry, I want to make sure that I know. You got to fix the mic. How's that? That's great. Is that better? Okay. I want everybody to hear this because this is something that's never happened since 60s. What's happening in Los Angeles, whatever your opinion, whatever your thing, I want to talk to someone, this gentleman here, who is in active duty, and what are your thoughts? I mean, and what is the discussion with other veterans seeing troops, U.S. troops on U.S. soil facing, I know they're not all U.S. citizens, but there's a good portion of people that they're facing that are U.S. citizens. What are your thoughts with the situation going on in L.A.?
You know, it's unfortunate that there isn't a lot of truth in mainstream media that's being projected, right, or shown right now, and that's what's kind of frustrating. I haven't had a lot of chatter with my fellow vets yet. Wanted to actually call one of my buddy who was a tank commander back in when I was stationed in Germany. But just a simple background. So I trained in Texas at Fort Sam in San Antonio, and then I went to Germany for 3 years, and then Iraq and Afghanistan. And then I also did training in Fort Polk that's when I was brigade surgeon before exiting. So those were kind of my duty stations in those quick 7 years. And there was, but also to bring some, I wouldn't say since the 60s, right? LA, that's why some people may ignore what's a little bit on the news. It may be seen as, well, LA always does some kind of riot, right? We had Rodney King, right?
92.
Right, so we had that. We had riots from George Floyd. Mm-hmm. That's probably the most recent, right? So people are like, oh, there's been unrest in that city. They always, when they get a little...
They're at it again.
They're at it again. Yeah, that's what they do. But sometimes it's either some type of... what blows the I guess the pot off the kettle here is it's sometimes like racial strife, or there's high rates of unemployment, or police brutality. Now it's triggering from ICE, right? But you have these folks where you don't know if they're ICE. You just got masked people. Some dude I saw.
They're not even in uniform.
He had like some Vans on and some really tight jeans and or jeggings. I was like, what does this guy got on?
Yeah, right.
And but to get back to And then, so we also have to understand there's the National Guard, and now there's active duty that aren't quite there yet, coming from Camp Pendleton, or 23 Palms, and so the concern there is National Guard. That's Newsom's army, just like our governor has his own National Guard, and usually the last time they were invoked like that was in the 60s, when it was done without getting the permission of a governor.
JFK with
for really bad riots, that civil rights riots that came in. We're not at that. And this is the thing. It was in a very small section. Most of everything that's been peaceful. This is where the media is not helping. Right? They're making it. And the thing is, they're talking about they were obstructing all these arrests. The people that are really I think there's arrests, and then there's kidnapping. That's really, I think, what's going on. Arrests are those that I think are protesters being arrested. All the immigrants that they've done over the last, or people with varying illegal or, in transitioning through a court system legal status, that's kidnapping. Just rolling up, taking folks, no habeas corpus. They're like judge, jury. I mean, just something to hit home. I live in North Salt Lake. My wife and I are just struggling trying to keep up on landscaping, yard maintenance. She gets on me, you didn't pull this, you didn't do that. I'm like, all right, let me hire somebody. Reach out to a guy, Pedro Landscaping. He's a citizen, so he's not worried. But he called me urgently Friday. We've been getting along well. He's helped me with a lot of stuff. And he says, he's like, half my crew just got detained at the gas station. 16 of them. I got 36. The rest were safe because they were in Park City. He's like, they have families. They have wives, they have girlfriends, they've been here for years, no criminal records, right? And now, that was Friday. Saturday, they were sent to Vegas detention facility. They're on flights to Mexico and Venezuela as we speak.
It breaks my heart, bro. It breaks my heart. I was watching this video of a woman being detained. Again, 3 guys, they're massive guys, and they don't have uniforms. And I can't tell. Again, and the lady, it's being translated, she's speaking in Spanish, she says, what am I gonna do about my son? She didn't care that she was being taken. I said, okay, but what about my son? Who's gonna pick up my son? Yeah. I said, I gotta be home for my son. I said, take me after that, but I got my son. And again, that scenario just freaked me the heck out, just because I couldn't tell if they were law enforcement, if they were ICE. If that was my mom, I would be so terrified. I don't know what I would do, because I can't tell if these guys are ICE agents or cops, And like you said, it could be a kidnap. I just don't know. And I'm on edge right now.
No rights are read.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's right.
But many people that support it or want this, because mind you, their detention facilities, they're in that state. They're not federal facilities. They're like leasing a state or a town.
Oh, wow.
So there's a town that gets money for someone to be housed, just like in Vegas, right? So there's someone there that's like, all right, you keep paying us, you can keep putting them here.
We don't care.
But when it comes to your question about active duty, I would just say we took an oath to the Constitution first. We do not have kings in America. And the bigger thing is we take an oath to defend our country, foreign and domestic. And right now, domestic, I think, is the bigger concern.
Mm-hmm. There's been talk about how the active duty, how National Guard made their way onto the streets of Los Angeles, about it wasn't needed, it was unprovoked, and this and that. I don't know what it would be like to stand across from a U.S. citizen, possibly a guy I just had lunch with yesterday, and I'm looking at him, and what do I don't wish that on anyone, especially the active duty members, and I would be interested to know what you and your fellow vets
are feeling. If I was in that position, one, I think we have to. Trump asked. This shows how haphazard the planning is, and he just doesn't know how things run generally. Nor does Pete Hegseth. And that is, I'm gonna call up 2,000 after a day of protests. Yeah, yes, they are short-staffed a bit because they had to shift a lot of money towards fire. They're not reading their hiring quotas with the LAPD and the sheriff. Yeah. Understand that. Let the governor determine it. So call up 2,000. I think only 300 have shown up. On top of that, you need lodging, food, fuel. Wow. for National Guard. You can't do that overnight. Where do you think? So they're probably going to sleep on the street or in some school cafeteria, and then it's going to be days before they get what they need. You know, these folks are often having jobs.
Wow.
And then for the Marines are not trained for like crowd control.
That's what I heard.
They seek, they do recon, and then they stop an enemy. A citizen
However
or
that
a non-lethal
means, yes.
immigrant, that's policing.
Gosh.
They're not, a forward operating troop force is not for policing domestically. So I think it's a show.
Can I hear? Let me see if I understand what I just heard from you. The LAPD was already well equipped to handle the situation. If it was going to escalate, they should have waited first to see if it escalated. They caused the escalation.
You can augment the LAPD and the sheriff with National Guard. Active duty.
Yeah.
That's exact. But the thing is, do they have staffing issues? Give them time. So, so someone got spit in their face and, maybe a rock was thrown. Oh, okay. That's not unusual.
One spit, right? One rock, one spit.
I think isn't Trump saying if they spit, we hit? Like that's
did say
excessive
that.
use of force. Like you're condoning it now. I mean,
Yeah.
just like he's canceling the investigation of the Minneapolis Police Department that led to George Floyd.
That
right?
is so crazy too.
So I hope that if Marines are listening, you have to. The other thing you got to consider though, when it comes to following orders, did I believe in the Iraq War? No. Did I believe in our justification going there? No, but did I go there because I took an oath and I had to take care of those that did sign up? They need they need quality health care, and that's like why I didn't have any hit on my conscience. That was my reasoning to go, is to support my fellow soldier and armored and infantrymen. Here, the Marines, I think for them, if they're going to be kind of supporting, but ultimately their role should really only be to just protect a federal facility.
If the crowd, if any crowd or protesters don't even get close to the federal buildings or facilities, then can I assume that there really is no need for active duty members?
There's no need for active duty, I think, at all. You got National Guard there that really should be under Newsom's control. But they should be there to protect anything federal. Unless the Insurrectionist Act is called. Unless that's done.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's my other thing.
Unless that's invoked, which I'm sure he'll try to find some contrived way to do it.
I was going to ask you, he did define, in his statement, President Trump in his statement defined these actions, and he called them
They're not.
insurrect. I know, but I feel like he's trying to put it in there so that he can invoke it. And I just learned this yesterday, that if he invokes that, it's not just for LA, it's for the country. It's for the entire country.
Yeah, for any other cities.
For every city, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want. We don't want that.
No.
And so I my heart goes out to the active members. It's I think it's just a crazy situation to be in, but thank you for saying that.
They need a paycheck, though. We have to remember that.
Yes.
They want to take care of their families. So if they disobey orders,
that's them.
they're at risk for, I wouldn't say, there's certain articles in the military, the UCMJ. They have a right to say, this is my reasoning why, which would play out through the courts. You need enough of them to do that. But many are like, I won't hurt anyone, but I'm going to show up because I still need to get my check signed to pay for my housing, take care of my family.
This is my job.
As a volunteer active duty soldier.
And I got to ask about, people, again, that are going out there wanting to break up sidewalks, wanting to break walls and protest in that way. That becomes illegal. Again,
yes.
According to law, illegal.
I agree. Agitators.
We haven't really... This is what I understand, Doc, is that when they say you take over freeway, you have now taken your quiet legal protest because you've commandeered a public area that doesn't allow for that kind of activity. That becomes now illegal.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree that people...
And we want people to protest, but we want them to protest legally and safely.
Yeah, so if you can get a permit, do so, or where it's not obstructing traffic, you're putting yourself in harm's way or someone else. Now, if you've got an ICE a heavily armored vehicle. You're putting yourself at risk there, you know, and I feel that some folks should not do that, but people are not thinking as clearly as they should. But and this is, I feel, what the administration wants. They want things to move so hastily. They want people to get angry, make mistakes, so you can invoke something such as, dare I say it, martial law.
It's such a volatile state where we're in, and it was so. All you history buffs, come for me if I'm wrong. It is so not what the founding fathers wanted for any of us.
Yeah.
You know, let alone themselves. You know, so thank you for speaking some calm and even.
Did I? I hope I didn't rile people up.
No, I don't think you rile people up, because I also think if I'm at home watching and I'm hearing, I'm getting it firsthand. I just heard from you say, you know, calm down. That soldier, man or woman, that's their job too. They got a kid, they got a husband, they got a wife. And so it would be unfair for us to put them at risk too.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, there's a way where we can do it, and none of us are following it right now. Everything's got been blown out of proportion. So again, whether you believe it or not, Doc, I want to say thank you so much for that. Your experience and having been there, it really resonates with me, and hearing that calms me down a little bit, knowing that it's not blind following orders.
No.
You know, people have conscience, and they are aware of their oath, what they committed to.
It's, you know, setting fires in the street, the agitators, just like there were agitators during George Floyd.
Yeah.
During the day, it was often peaceful, right? People shouting, do this to the police, we need change, led a lot of DEI measures going to larger companies. Now that's getting rolled back. But then we have to just really focus and understand that many areas of our system are broken.
Can I ask you about that? When you first heard about the DEI rollback, only because what I heard, and I don't know if this was all true, that even pictures of some of our historical African American heroes in the military, men and women, were being taken down, and I gotta ask, because I don't know if it'll ever happen again. It should have never happened. But what were you going through when you heard that? What were your feelings?
It felt highly targeted, and why we not, one of the strengths of America is our diversity. Why would we not want to highlight that? We can't meet our recruiting goals. So for any of our services, armed services right now. So why, if you want a 19-year-old, 17-year-old, 15-year-old not to have access to that history, to be inspired by a Medal of Honor winner that was from the Vietnam War, that was of Latin American descent or African American descent, Polynesian descent, Native American, yes, we should celebrate that. We are that melting pot of strength. And I think it's very short-sighted to see that as divisive.
Yes. I totally agree. And the thing that first came to my mind was, if I'm flipping through the pages of the history book, so whose picture are you going to have there for the first open heart surgery? Whose name are you going to put there? If we're canceling everything, so we're just going to go all the way to when the white guy started doing it.
Racing history.
I didn't believe that we could ever get to a place like this. But can I ask you this part? Is there going to be enough to walk us back from the ledge? Is everything going to start to come down? Are we going to see our heroes put back? Are you hopeful? What is your thought with that?
So I think they did some things on the website where our only thing right now that's helping us is our judicial system. And we're putting a lot on one of the three branches of government. The executive branch, lost cause. Just bull in the china shop, trying to disrupt, break everything, calling it better. It's not. And then you have the legislative body that are so wanting to cling to power for so long, even though so many of them should have left a long time ago, particularly our own representatives and senators, that they are looking at it's very, very selfish that they don't want to stand up and advocate, because this is not what the majority of the Utahns wanted. Well, actually, let me take that back. I think many of them wanted certain things that are happening right now, but I don't think they realize when it's going to impact their own household. Yeah.
That story you told about half of the gentleman's workforce, just that would be enough. But to hear that they have families and girlfriends and wives
Yeah,
and husbands and
they have to
boyfriends.
leave now too.
Wait a minute, what?
Well, often they were the main breadwinner, so once that man leaves, they're going to leave too.
I didn't even think about
Leaving school, disrupting school, all of that. And they contribute taxes. You know, as someone that's on the health insurance side in Utah, our tax dollars are not going to immigrant care in inpatient settings or outpatient settings, or, you know, a little bit in the ER. They're often seeking care far too late, you know, but we don't need where an ICE agent that's going to be in civilian clothes sitting outside of a maternity ward waiting for a woman to
That's
deliver,
sad. That
right?
is so sad.
As someone that delivered, you know, dozens of babies during my training at the U, many I know came over, they had a family member that, you know, was from Mexico, citizen status, they were illegal, they came for their last 6 weeks, they delivered, stay another 6 weeks, their baby gained citizenship, then they leave for 2 years, then they come back. I understand that. You know, I know we want to try to stop some chain migration, or anchor babies as they refer to them. But did she technically commit a crime? Yes. Violent crime? No. Is she eventually going to add to probably our tax base? Yes. Is she going to do jobs that many elites are not going to want to do? Yes. Are we stopping opportunity from so many other black and brown? And I think people are short-sighted if they think it's just going to stop at brown immigrants.
Here's the other thing that I've also just thought about, and I'm sure you thought of this too. If the people that are doing these jobs that the elite don't want to do, other people will step in and they will demand more money because they think they work better than the immigrants, right? And I'm just, I don't know, but that'll happen. I know if a guy, I'm just thinking about me, I'm born here in America, and they say to me, hey, I need you to come out and pick some fruit. Well, how much you charge? Nah, bro, I'm American, bro. I can't be out there for no $2 an hour, bro. Nah, it doesn't work. It is not gonna work because we're just conditioned to be like that. It's got to be minimum wage. It's gonna mess everything up.
It's our class system that we have.
Our class system. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get at. Yes. But I don't know what the answer is. All we can do is try to do the best we can to get along. I wanted to ask you, what is your message to young African Americans, young minorities, seeing all of this, and maybe they're saying to themselves, damn, man, what kind of future do I got? What kind of business, what kind of profession, what kind of degree should I go in now with this kind of future that I'm looking at? What can you say to them, Doc?
I would not give up hope, because we still have those, and I think we still have Republicans that are in the legislative branch that know what is the right thing to do. And I'm still hopeful that they will stand up, just like we had several, I think there was at least 3 Republican representatives that said this bill is wrong. You know, hopefully we get more in the Senate, and as anything else tries to go through. So that means that in the next cycle, in 2026, we get some change. But I don't think that process of our democracy has gone away with fair and free elections. I do think that many young African American men, this is still a great country with many opportunities. I just created 3 job opportunities this summer through MBA funding. So I don't think that's going to go. It's just some of the federal support will start to lessen. So we may need to lean on more state and private donors and other, you know, billionaires that don't see it the way that are on Trump's side, those oligarchs.
And there are some.
Yeah.
There are some that don't see eye to eye
Bill
with
Gates
Trump.
doesn't.
Yeah. If I could ask you this question about young people who are watching and saying, you know what, I want to go out there and I want to lend my hand to what's happening out there. I want my voice to be heard. Can we please offer some constructive ways just to give them what they're going to do, whatever they're going to do. But I would love for them to hear from us saying, hey, try this, try this, try this.
So there are civil liberties that are still protected under the Bill of Rights. So your First Amendment right for free speech as a private citizen. I would always say, do not show anything that deals with your job, your employer. Don't reference them if you're going to do anything that's part of public advocacy or protests. Be mindful of that. It's okay. You're going to be photographed, just like I'm on now. It's going to happen. But I'm not saying anything about my day job, and I'm not representing
Or
my day
anything
job
that would
here.
jeopardize your day job. Yes.
And try to stick with and try to vet some of the information, do a little bit of research, because mainstream media, your ABC, your CBS, isn't going to give it all to you. You know, sometimes you might need to go to Midas Touch. That's on Instagram or TikTok. These are folks that are kind of like more grassroots on the ground, giving you information that will be more trustworthy or will actually be known that's not getting national coverage before you react. So I would just think before you react, try to get with an established organization, ACLU, a larger body that's been in existence longer than say 10 years, where they are organized, they have a nonprofit status. There's some protections there in a larger group, as opposed to say something that developed, a year ago, and they have 5 people or 6 people. There's not as much there to protect you when vocally protesting.
I heard somebody say what we could do as regular citizens if we're not going out there is that we could donate to some of these causes.
Yes.
Is that
For example, I fully believe in NPR and PBS. I'm going on PBS on Juneteenth at West Valley Cultural Center to talk about our freedom for all. It's kind of apropos how this is happening near Juneteenth when we should be celebrating our freedoms, but we often have seen a lot of infringement on all our shared freedoms right now. It's not just African Americans, it's all our freedoms are in many regards being placed at risk. So I gave $75 to NPR because I'm like, oh no, I love this news stream. I love the information I get here. I support our local PBS. So
wonderful station. Those guys, we worked with them once for a little bit earlier this year. That wonderful organization, PBS Utah. I love those guys. If I could then ask, because my sweetheart and I were talking about this, if this is all going on right now, what in the Sam Hill is going on that we don't see? The cops are all here. Everybody's here focused in LA. What bank's getting robbed? What casino's getting held up? What Ocean 11 is happening? Because they're already spread thin, right? And so I had this really quick thought that there are other things still going on that require the police service on top of this thing that's going on in LA. So I'm not saying that this is a wag the dog situation, but there's other things going on that are still just as bad that we're not thinking about, that is weighing heavily on the police, and we're not protecting a lot. There's a lot of people in LA right now who are unprotected. That's what I want to say. Because of this thing.
Response time will probably take a little longer for, say, domestic violence or possibly a domestic shooting. So I definitely could see that occurring. And it's Minneapolis, other major cities where everything's about to blow off.
Do you think that it happened here once? We've seen a protest like that. We've seen police cars here in Salt Lake City turned over for Black Lives Matter. There was that protest. I was down there.
By the Dunkin' Donuts is not there anymore. Dude with the arrow.
I was so lucky, bro. I was on that thing, and people passed me by. We were in the vehicle. I was in the Buddha-mobile, but people passed us by. There's a Fox vehicle right over there. It's been smashed up. There's a police vehicle on fire. And people were just like, "What's up, Big Buddha? What's up, Big Buddha?" I was like, "I'm glad I didn't do any bad stuff." Ooh. But they were just happy walking by to go protest. Can that happen? Since we saw that happen, do you think what's the likelihood?
If things are going the way they are right now, luckily we're in a state where you tend to get sometimes less of it when you have lower unemployment. When you have a low unemployment rate.
Happier residents.
So they're happier, gainfully employed. You still have summer job opportunities for youth. Because it's sometimes what we worry about. Like when I heard that AmeriCorps is going to go away, which will create a lot of summer job program. Job Corps,
Holy
so
cow.
when you have young men without something, if they're idle, and they are starting to feed into a lot of social media, and they keep getting this dopamine hit from the phone, and they haven't had a mentor or senior to tell them, this is how you deal with your feelings. Don't go and hit someone. Don't go and reach for an easily accessible weapon.
If they haven't had that training.
A job is better than a gun in someone's hand. And so I do worry about idle youth feeling they want to do something that may impact their ability to have a career in the future.
That's the thing, right, Doc? We don't think about tomorrow. We don't think about what the consequences are. We're all in our thing, and you might be right. You might be right to be angry. You might be right to say some things, but just remember, if you do that, what are the consequences that come if you do something illegal or nefarious? What does that mean for you and your family?
Well, it's also about our justice system. It's skewed to those that have wealth and access. So you can be a white person doing the same thing, but if you're a young brown brother that does something that's the same, some misdemeanor, it will come down far more harshly on you.
And there's a possibility that you could probably be deported by accident. It's happened already.
They arrested a U.S. Marshal a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
Yeah.
I flipped out. I'm like,
which means it's so indiscriminate.
Thank you. I was just about to say
you don't checking any, and you don't have a warrant.
No fact check.
Yep. I mean, hanging out in front of Home Depots.
Yep.
Because someone speaks Spanish. That's not the America that I am proud to be a part of. And they are not committing the amount of crimes that Americans are.
Well, okay.
There's so much they have at risk.
I know we're running into the last bit, but no. What I wanted to say is, if those guys, if ICE was really doing their job and they were only getting the bad people that our president said that's who they're getting, wouldn't we be celebrating them? Wouldn't we be saying, look, they've got 10 of these criminals,
every Friday highlight it? Oh no, yeah. Well, when you also fire a lot of people that could help. True. And you could use as a resource in federal government, but you really want to ask them because you want to save money for, multimillionaires and billionaires for a potential tax cut to go.
What I'm hearing from you is that none of this was thought out. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh no, so reactive, but it's still intent. Any tweet that I think he puts out, or not tweet, what is it? X and Truth Social.
Yeah.
That is often a distraction. That stuff with him and Elon Musk. That means they're doing something else that they're trying to push through that they hope you don't ask Caroline Levitt about.
Jeez.
That's
the wag the dog?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. React to this. This is flashy. This is juicy gossip. But this is what we're really trying to do to make this more authoritarian system.
Jeez. I heard it earlier from you. I would love to ask you about it again in closing. With so much strife, with so much grief, angst, violence happening in America, that although we have a history, a lot of our kids have not seen this kind of stuff. Are we still in the greatest country in the world? Are we still going to be able to reclaim our place where we are still, ambassadors of democracy?
As someone that has served and has lived abroad before, I don't know if I would say we are the greatest country in the world. We may be a top earner. We are number one in economy. We have a very large military. I do not feel that we have an effective legislative branch, right? A constitution should be made to be amended. We don't have a lot of amendments to that constitution. Which means we are often, it was created. If our founding fathers saw us now, to be like, why do you only have this many?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you have like 100 by now?
Yeah. It's called amend.
Yeah. You guys could have to. We made it so you can change it.
Facts.
So I would say that
for the good, for the positive, change it for the good of the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there had to be an amendment for my people to be citizens.
Yep.
Right. So I would say that America's greatness, we've continued to strive. We always have work to do because our strength is our diversity, which right now is almost a dirty word in Utah. Jeez. and in the federal government. Yeah. I'm almost concerned at my nonprofit because it comes from federal status.
Yeah.
Are we going to be considered a DEI organization because black is in the title?
Yeah.
So I'm actually having to do some things to protect that. There's a reason why I haven't gotten federal funding, because I don't want to be dependent on that.
Yeah.
So I think, what was your question?
It's the greatest country. Are we still? The youth? Can they still say, "Hey,
they should still be proud to be an American"?
Thank you.
But I would do it with some grace, some humility, and know your history, because there's some aspects that are starting to repeat, at least from other countries.
This, bro, I gotta have you back on. There's so many things
yeah.
to talk about. I mean, because of what we're talking about, there have been revisitations to the Tulsa, Oklahoma story, the massacre of Black Wall Street. There's been visits to all these other things, and when you introduce them to everyday citizens, they're like, "Nah, bro, that's a movie. No. That's American history."
Yeah.
What's going on?
I mean,
that's what I'm afraid of.
A lot of people are comparing this more to German history, but just remember, a lot of what Hitler learned in the 30s, he learned from the U.S. and our Jim Crow system.
Oh yeah. It's crazy when you listen to, there's a famous, and I'm going off topic here, but there's a famous video clip of Adolf addressing the German public. It's in Germany. He's speaking Germany. When if you listen translated, he's saying exactly those things that we said back in the early days. It's just.
He was arrested. He was a head equivalent of a felon.
Yes.
He was allowed to run, became chancellor, attacked his enemies.
We're not saying or drawing any correlations to anything else other than that's what happened to Germany. It looks similar. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. If not fascism-esque, why fascism shaped?
Okay. Again, see, I want to ask you about Elon. I want to ask you what are your thoughts about Elon? But you kind of said it already with the wag the dog.
He's an oligarch. He's trying to get his encroachment, his enough influence to sustain power, so he can, so we can just continue to widen that gap of the elites, where he can get larger access to other systems throughout outside the U.S.
Did he take anything? We gave him access to all of our information.
Of course. I strongly feel he does.
Man.
He did. I don't trust Doge.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even, I mean, something like that should have been congressionally approved.
It was so fast. Yeah. How he went and came out, then they had a spat.
Yeah, and then they're backing up. It really didn't save any money that they were saying it was going to. My family, remember, I'm from D.C., so a large number of, a large employer in Washington, D.C. is federal employees in the district government. Yeah. So my family is very much impacted. One of my buddies, he works for the IRS. He took that separation, early separation that they offered.
The package. He took the package. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, are you getting paid? Because nobody budgeted for that.
Jeez. There's so much more we could talk about. Again, thank you for tuning in. Doc, I'd love for you to plug your events that are coming up because... thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Yes, we know real doctors, guys. Yeah, this is crazy. What do you got coming up? I would love for people to attend your events.
So, although it's Men's Health Month, there's so many overlapping, but it's also Brain Health and Alzheimer Awareness Month. It's something that disproportionately impacts us Black and brown communities. We don't prepare when our elders get older and they no longer have all their wits about them.
Yeah.
And there are ways that I want to make sure that we address on earlier screening, earlier treatment, so we can slow the progression of dementia in our community, and so we can better prepare to support our loved ones in later stages of life. So that is going to be at the Sorensen Unity Center on June 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Is that Redwood Road?
No, that's like 1300 South in California. Yep. So it's right behind the Zions Bank basketball practice area.
Yeah.
So very close, easy parking. We'll have refreshments. I have a specialist that's a gerontologist coming in from Denver. I'll be part of the panel as well. So we're going to have some good discussion there. And then come join me to meet with Lonzo Liggins and, what's the other guy's name? That's the host of Roots and Culture for PBS, Darren. But myself, Dr. Sidney Shorter, the Utah Black Chamber, and Robert Birch of the Buffalo Soldiers will all be there having a discussion on.
You got the Buffalo Soldiers coming?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those guys. I love that group.
So he'll be there, and we'll have a little panel discussion from 6 to 8 at PBS. And then most of all, heart fitness, brain health. They're well related because if you don't take care of your heart, your brain's not going to be as healthy. Come join us for our Juneteenth Freedom 5K. It'll be at Mountain View Park in Woods Cross, Utah. 9 a.m. start. Registration discounts still available on our website, bpou.org. Get your ticket. We've got great prizes. DJ Afrolicious is from 9 to 11. Bring your family, bring your kids. Walk, run, you know, walk, run, jog, skip, whatever you need. It's all flat. You might get a PR,
Stroll,
and possibly one of these hats will go to one of the winners.
hey, let's go.
So yeah, June 21st, we got the 5K on our website. All of this is on our website, bpou.org.
We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. It's such an important thing to talk about. I know you could be anywhere else, but thank you again for making time for us, Doc. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah, and we're going to do a joint event with Utah Black Lawyers Association and our Mental Wellness Alliance to address this political uncertainty with black lawyers from Utah to talk about your civil liberties, your civil rights, and what the best way to advocate for change right now and how to deal with this anxiety and fear that is being brought upon us.
Yeah, and it's not just for the African American community.
Everybody.
Anybody. That has those
Everybody. It
problems.
won't be
Yeah.
recorded, so it'll be confidential. Please don't take any screenshots of who's on, but it'll be started off by those that are experts in the Constitution and understanding our three branches of government and their power.
Yeah. Well, Doc, thank you so much again for your time. This video will be saved for a little bit in our Facebook page, but we're going to transfer it over to our YouTube so that it stays here for future generations, like all the other videos. Doc brought up something really, really important. I'd love to send it out. If you guys would like to sew into this program, The Everyday People, we bring people on like Dr. Ferguson on. We had on Pastor France Davis. He was on those kinds of people. And we don't want to just bring them on during Black History Month, during Juneteenth, when everybody else is doing it. No, we want it to be a revolving door where it's normal. You know how you say? We want we want to normalize it. So thank you again, Doc. Please like, follow, and share this with anybody who is struggling with what's going on, especially it's men's health, your heart. Can you give me 3 more pieces of advice on what to do for your heart?
Yeah, park a little farther away from the grocery store, as I said at the eulogy.
Yeah.
The other thing is try to have at least 5 days a week, 30 minutes of vigorous exercise. All right, that's a brisk walk. That often can be 2 to 3 miles, 2.5. A little bit of a bike ride. And the other thing is try to reduce your portion size and reduce the amount of fatty food in your diet.
All this time I thought this meant fight the power. It's just your portion size. That's just.
You want your stomach to get smaller so you get fuller faster.
I appreciate all the nuggets, Doc. Seriously, you're welcome on anytime. We got to have you on more often. Thank you so much. As we say here on our program, if we can help one person, in this case, we hope we can help a lot of people, then we've done our job. And as we like to say, please be kind. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on Friday during our morning show, Everyday People. But Dr. Ferguson, you now have your flowers. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me back.
Bye. Have a good evening. We'll see you guys next time.
Something that happened along the way. I used to be happy was sad. Oh, something happened along the way. And yesterday was all we had. And oh, after the love has gone, how could you leave me on and not let me stay around? Gone. What used to be right is wrong.